Goodwills, thrift stores, flea marts. And I was a teenager, and I was into many things. I started off, I went from cards to comics, comics to toys. I collected Star Wars action figures, got really into that, and kind of got bored of it, actually. And by the early 90s, I had started to transition my Star Wars collection to something else. And my good friend here remembers when my video game collection fit inside a shoebox, because we all start somewhere, right? I mean, we all start, and early on for me, my video games, I wanted it to be something else. I really was excited about collecting games. I liked the fact that you could collect something, yet you could play it. You didn't just look at it, but you could, it was functional. You could stick it into a device and play whatever, Nintendo, Atari, Sega, and it really kind of blew up in the mid-90s to late 90s. It really started to gain momentum, and I was at the right place at the right time. I was in, Redding, California area, and I actually lived in Cottonwood, but then I moved to Redding, and games were everywhere, and a lot of people, a lot of the big collectors back then were into Atari. Well, I was the young kid on the block that liked Sega and Nintendo, and there was less people into that stuff, and it was fun to collect, it was affordable, and that's really what got me going into collecting. Fast forward, I got connected. I thought I was the only one doing this stuff, and then come to find out there's a bunch of people doing it, and that's right. And an early expo that changed my perspective and forum was the DigiPress forum, and so I met and started meeting with other collectors that really knew a lot about classic video games that I didn't even know existed. That's where I learned about the Bally Astrocade. That's where I learned about the Vectrex. Even in television, Atari 7800. Between those experiences and being good friends introducing me to things that I wasn't into, I started to gain a passion for lots of different things. And I never really considered myself like a fanboy of one thing. I know I get kind of stereotyped as like a Sega guy or an Atari guy. I just love video games. I love it all. It doesn't matter what it's on, Xbox, Nintendo, Sega, Sony. I mean, I just really like games. And I wanted to represent, and my longtime goal and dream was to have a place to celebrate gaming and collecting, and it's something that's been on my mind a long time. I've talked about it a long time. I know that there's people are like, well, you've talked about it a long time, when are you going to do it? And I'm here to talk a little bit about where I'm at with that, the challenges moving forward. And so my collection was very humble, but it was my number one hobby. Okay, I'm not a type of person to have lots of different hobbies. I'm into different stuff. I like football. I like American football. I like to eat. I like music. I want to learn bass guitar and some other things, but I really just have one hobby, and I stuck with it. And I've just really appreciated collecting video games, the history of video games, and it's just kind of grown from there. And so I got connected to the right people at the right time. As I moved north, I got connected to Rick Wise and Nathan Martin, and got connected to organizing shows. And then, lo and behold, fast forward, Portland Retro Gaming Expo formed. I was on the board with that with my good friend Jonathan Rose, and it just kind of ballooned from there, and then got connected with people, realized that there's many more people out here that care about this stuff, and it just was was a great time for things. What kind of happened though in probably around 2010 is that I was pretty burned. I was working two jobs. I was working at Portland Community College at the time as a second job. I was doing community mental health, and I didn't have time to do long meetings organizing the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. But I wanted to give back to the community, and so me and some friends of mine, we pretty much started Calix Gamers for Kids, and that was a local event for Longview, Washington, and it was for a nonprofit at the time, and just finished its 10th year. Last year I stepped down as the main organizer just because of YouTube, but it was a lot of fun taking something I was loving and then giving back to a community with the help of many others. And so collecting now has changed so much. It's a very different marketplace, but I think there's some awesome stuff out there. And I think I'm here to say that there's many awesome things out there to be passionate about. And I think the thing is that nothing happens overnight. Whether you're collecting, you're gaming, you're YouTubing. Do I have any YouTubers out there? Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. YouTube's changed a lot over the time too. I've YouTubed seriously for the last 3 years, even though I've had a channel for like many years. And so, I'm just here to say that. That's all right. So my YouTube journey began a long time ago with a Fujifilm camera. I had a simple camera. I didn't know what I was doing, and I put up a couple videos, whatever. And then I became friends with Metal Jesus Rocks, and he really kind of showed me the ropes of like how to make a good video. But it really wasn't for me. Like, if you've seen my channel, if anybody familiar with my channel, okay, most people are. The focus of my channel is and always will be to educate others about video games. I like to talk about news, but I'm not into like the drama or someone did something naughty. I don't like talking about that. I don't like smashing video games, for views. I like just to celebrate gaming. I like to talk about weird stuff, and I do that around a full-time job of teaching second grade, and it's 65 plus hours dedicated to that around my family, and anything, and it's a challenge. And I think people understand that, but there's so much more that you want to say. Sometimes I've learned this last year that you just have to, go to bed when you're tired. Oh, can't do a video. I'm gonna go to bed. And I've gotten better at doing that. And the same thing with collecting. Sometimes you have to take a break from collecting sometimes, because we're the generation that's going to have physical media burnout. And for me, I'm purpose driven for what I want to do with my collection. But sometimes we forget that it's okay to not buy something at every game show or Goodwill, and sometimes it's good to just take a break and play what you have. I have a great relationship with Jonathan Rose, and he's taught me the balance of gaming and collecting, and you can do both. And I think whatever you do, whether you collect only or game only, it's good to celebrate. It's good just to have that balance of celebrating what you have and collect it, or pull something out random and make it fun. I think sometimes it's easy to lose track of kind of what you're doing. And so I, for one, have had ups and downs. A lot of people say, have you always wanted to do a museum? I can honestly say for the last probably 15 years, yes. What stopped me from doing it anytime sooner is really time. I didn't feel like it was the right time to do it. And so moving forward, this year, I'm going to be forming a nonprofit. And so that's the goal of this year, is to form a nonprofit to get serious about moving forward with my collection. I have 31 complete collections. I just finished Atari Jaguar complete in box. It was tough. It was tough. Some people ask, well, how much do you get donated to you? I don't get a ton donated to me. Honestly, I have a couple people that don't want to be praised or announced on my channel. They help me with some of the more expensive items, but that's it. I really don't have stuff sent to me all the time. I don't ask for it. People ask me what I'm missing. I send them a list if they want to help me out. I have a Google Drive list, but that's it. I'm not e-begging, as some people say. There's a lot of hate out there on social media. There's skeptics out there that just want to, they want to trash somebody for their own attention, or because they think they can. Yeah. There's a lot of people that, they're also the same people that don't show their face, that hide behind an avatar, that don't come up. I've had the nicest people at shows such as this come and say thank you for doing your videos. What you get with my channel is family-friendly entertainment. I'm a second grade teacher. I know that some of my second grade class watches my videos. I've only had 2 cuss words on my channel, and that was my wife slipping twice. And you know, but I care about that. I care about having a family-friendly event, entertainment. I'm not necessarily religious or anything. It's just I think it's good to have family entertainment, and there's other places if you don't want that. And so for me, that's what I aim to strive to do. I want to celebrate gaming, and it really means a lot to me. You know, that's why I do it. I wake up every day. I don't have any doubts about I don't have any doubts that the museum's going to happen. I think that the long-term plan is a 5-year plan, and part of that is because of money and location, and that's like a big question mark. And so once I form the nonprofit, I think more details about the museum will be fleshed out, and I don't know how much who out of the woodwork is going to say, hey, I'm going to contribute to what you want to do. And so that's why I haven't talked about it before, because there's a lot of question marks. You know, I'm a full-time teacher with benefits, and then transferring that to be a curator of a museum and giving up my collection to the museum. You know, what rules are engaged, you know, what rules are you going to be able to keep some of your collection if the museum folds? What's the best location for the museum? What corporations are going to contribute to it? Should you accept financial corporation support? You know, and how much money is it going to cost? Do you have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan? Those are all things that like I've thought about, but have to be addressed after the nonprofit's been formed. And so I want to address that because I don't think I talk about the museum enough. I talk about doing it, but like those are the reasons why I haven't fleshed out additional details, because those things have to be answered. And so that's pretty much kind of where I'm at. And that, you know, I'm happy to do a Q&A with like some collector questions about my collection, what I want to do moving forward, and I'm happy to answer questions. So does anybody have any gaming questions? Yes?
Question about the museum. Are you considering also perhaps joining
What's going on, guys? Video Game Voter here. So as you guys just watched, majority of the panel from John Hancock at Seattle Retro Gaming Expo 2019. So I have a very, very special exclusive for you guys. Check this out.
All right.
Yeah. So, welcome to the Video Game VOTARY. I'm here with the Immortal John Hancock. Nice to finally meet you. Always appreciate the interview. A couple questions for you. Number one, what was the hardest game to find as part of any of your collection?
Well, hardest game, I just acquired it, NFL Blitz 2000 Greatest Hits.
Okay.
Yeah.
What collection took you the longest to collect?
Sega Genesis. 13 years.
And are you ever willing to part ways with your collection?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you count the museum, yes. There's rules on like how that's going to look. So like what happens to collections if the museum folds. But when I become the curator of the museum, the understanding is that my collection then becomes part of the museum. So that's yes. Yeah.
Thank you. So we are here live at the Seattle Retro Gaming Expo 2019. The Immortal John Hancock. Let the people know how they can get in touch with you in case they don't know.
All right, you just search John Hancock on YouTube, and I have a Facebook fan page as well. Just type in John Hancock, and you can find me. That's easy.
Oh, before we go, I want to present you with this. I know we're just talking. This is with my logo and everything.
Oh, dude, awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Awesome.
All right, great.
Thank you. Thank you
sir.
so much.
Pleasure to meet you.
All right.